Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 543 based on novel. So let's start. However, right now, after everything had calmed down, he couldn't make himself forget. It's this day of the year again. Wang Lin lowered his head bitterly and sat down. At this moment, Grand Empyrean Xian Luo was standing on top of the mountain and silently watching Wang Lin. After sitting down, Wang Lin let out a deep breath and his right hand reached out. The ghostly sail appeared and surrounded his body. It seemed as if he wasn't willing to allow anyone to see himself. He just wanted to quietly spend this day by himself. The sky of the celestial realm was clear and the sunlight was coming from some unknown place. The sunlight shone on the earth, and it wasn't hot but was warm. The mountain Wang Lin was at was very quiet. He was inside the ghostly sail as he looked up at the sky for a long time. Soon, I'll head to the immortal astral continent. There, I will find a way to wake you up. Trust me, trust me. Just like what I promised you back then, even if heaven wants you to die, I'll snatch you back. Due to his quiet surroundings, his heart was calm and melancholy. Wang Lin vaguely felt like he didn't have much time left in the cave world. Soon, he was likely to leave this place and head to the foreign immortal astral continent. Wang Lin had gone to a lot of foreign places in his life, and loneliness had accompanied him all throughout his journeys. Although he had been lonely, Li Muwan had accompanied him, making his loneliness a bit lighter and bearable. Today is a special day. Do you remember? Wang Lin couldn't remember his own age, his own birthday, but he remembered this day thousands of years ago. This was a day he could not forget. Every year on this day, he would spend it by himself, whether he was slaughtering to make himself forget, escaping to bury it in the bottom of his heart, or in closed-door cultivation where he silently passed the years. However, most of the time, he would drink by himself. The spicy wine flowed down his throat, but he could not feel the spiciness because melancholy, loneliness, and loss filled his heart. No matter how strong the wine was, it wasn't able to wash them away at all. I accepted Li Qianmai, I'm sorry, Wang Lin silently pondered. He took out a jug of wine inside the ghostly sail and drank it. That amount of kindness is something I can't repay. I don't want to love in this life, because your departure let me know the price of love. I can't bear it. More than 2,000 years ago on this day, a cry for help filled with thoughts for revenge entered Wang Lin's heart. That voice was very soft, helpless, and would make one feel sorry for it. That voice made Wang Lin stop and turn his head. He saw a figure he didn't know but would remember for the rest of his life. This figure was his woman. Wang Lin's heart felt pain, and he drank all the wine in the jug. He threw it aside and took out another jug. Not far away, Grand Empyrean Xian Luo was sitting there and looking at Wang Lin's back. The sorrow and loneliness being given off by this figure moved even him. Just wait for me. It won't be long before I can do it. Wang Lin drank a mouthful of wine and let it overflow from the corner of his mouth. He waved his sleeve and the heaven avoidance coffin appeared before him. Looking at the sleeping Li Muwan inside the coffin, he revealed a gentle smile. But it felt like a needle had pierced his heart. Wang Lin looked at Li Muwan for a long time before he gently opened the lid of the coffin. His left hand trembled as he slowly reached into the coffin until he touched Li Muwan's face. He gently caressed Li Muwan's face. The pain in Wang Lin's heart turned into a tide of sorrow that ruthlessly drowned him. Tears came from Wang Lin's eyes. His tears fell on Li Muwan and wetted her clothes. Your sliver of soul is gone. It's not in the divine retribution anymore, but no matter where it is, no matter who has it, I'll take it back. Wang Lin murmured as he picked up the jug of wine and took a big gulp. His tears mixed with the wine and became bitter, but he drank it all. Wang Lin threw away the wine jug and his right hand pointed to the spot between his eyebrows. His left hand pointed to the spot between Li Muwan's eyebrows and he closed his eyes. Ghostly face illusion, dream for millennia. Wang Lin muttered as the ghostly sail around him distorted. The ghostly face roared and flew out, then it disappeared in between Wang Lin's eyebrows. The fog around Wang Lin became dense, making it impossible to see everything inside. Xian Luo silently pondered, and his expression was complicated. He had some ideas, and with a sigh, he pointed at the fog around Wang Lin. His divine sense entered the fog. Wang Lin, it's not that this old man can't disturb you, but I need to understand everything about you. I'm not only choosing my only disciple, I need someone that will protect my reincarnation and guard my ancient Dao clan, a very important person. Xian Luo closed his eyes. The moment he closed his eyes, his mind entered the dream world Wang Lin was in. He felt the sorrow that came from this world. The sky was dark and there were monstrous flames in the distance, lighting up the sky. Sounds of slaughter and spells colliding could be heard in the distance. Wang Lin was standing there, and the confusion in his eyes gradually dissipated. He looked back at the direction of the Sea of Devils and slowly waited. After a long time, 2 rays of light flew by before Wang Lin's eyes. It was a man and a woman. The woman in front looked pale and frightened, her body shaking. This woman was like a lotus fairy, gentle and elegant. She was Li Muwan. The man behind her had a face filled with lust as he casually chased after her. Little girl, your team of 13 people has been killed by me. Where can you run? While he spoke, he waved right hand. A large part of Li Muwan's clothes were torn off, revealing her skin. As Li Muwan let out a cry, the man sniffed his right hand. The lust in his eyes became even more intense. Just at this moment, Li Muwan saw Wang Lin. Her heart was weak right now after facing humiliation and danger. She recognized that Wang Lin looked familiar. It's you. Senior brother, save me. As she spoke, she changed direction and instantly arrived beside Wang Lin. Her face was filled with anxiousness as she clenched her teeth and quickly said, "This person is the elder of the double cultivation sect from the country of Xianwu. He found out that I have a distant heaven pill. That's why he didn't hesitate." She was very clever and immediately revealed the distant heaven pill to make Wang Lin act. However, before she finished speaking, she was startled because Wang Lin was looking at her with a gentle smile. This gaze made it seem as if he was looking at someone he had loved for thousands of years. This gaze caused Li Muwan to tremble. "You," just as Li Muwan was about to speak, the young man in the distance smiled coldly. He naturally saw Wang Lin but didn't care at all. He raised his right hand and 8 flying swords appeared around him and shot toward Wang Lin like a whirlwind. Wang Lin looked at Li Muwan and naturally caught her with his right hand. Li Muwan's eyes were filled with shame as Wang Lin looked at the lustful youth behind the 8 swords. With one gaze, the 8 flying swords immediately became distorted and collapsed. As for the young man, the moment he met Wang Lin's eyes, his heart rumbled and he coughed out blood. Just as fear appeared in his eyes, his body was torn apart by an invisible force. Everything suddenly became silent. Li Muwan looked stunned at all of this and forgot to struggle. She was being held in Wang Lin's arms while his longing gaze fell on her. Senior brother. You." After a long time, Li Muwan recovered. Her face immediately turned pale as she looked at Wang Lin timidly with fear. Seeing Li Muwan like this, Wang Lin felt a sting in his heart and gently loosened his hand. "I'm called Wang Lin." After Wang Lin muttered this, Li Muwan immediately retreated more than 1,000 feet. She paused for a moment and timidly looked at Wang Lin. She then bowed at Wang Lin and quickly left. Watching Li Muwan's obviously frightened figure, Wang Lin revealed a happy smile. However, the bitterness and sorrow hidden under the smile couldn't be seen by others. In the distance, Grand Empyrean Xian Luo silently watched all of this, and even his heart felt a sting of pain. He looked at Wang Lin, he looked at the smile on Wang Lin's face and silently pondered. What kind of loneliness and sorrow could make one look for joy in a dream? Xian Luo let out a sigh. Wang Lin stood there with a smile until Li Muwan's figure disappeared. He then slowly closed his eyes and everything around him disappeared. When he opened his eyes, he was in the celestial realm, on the mountain looking at Li Muwan, who was sleeping inside the coffin. The sky was no longer blue, it was now night. The night had a dreamlike full moon hanging in the sky. There seemed to be two figures slowly walking together in front of it. These were the figures of a man and a woman. Looking at the moon in the night, a gentle breeze blew by, causing Wang Lin's white hair to flutter in the wind. This wind was very gentle, like Wan's hand that caressed Wang Lin's ancient face. One gaze was like 1,000 years. This night, the moon and the stars were scattered, and this night was sleepless. This night, with Li Muwan accompanying him, Wang Lin's heart was calm as he was not alone. The wind blew by, and as it blew, Wang Lin's heart also blew into the coffin. It lifted Li Muwan's black hair and gently blew past. The black hair in the coffin seemed to want to fly into the sky as well, but in the end, it lacked the strength and drifted back down. It wasn't until the moonlight became thick that Wang Lin saw an old figure in the distance. This old figure was surrounded by a blue light, and beside him was a woman. This woman was Li Qianmai. The father and daughter seemed to have arrived a long time ago. They had watched Wang Lin enter the dream and had seen his tears fall on Li Muwan. Before Wang Lin's eyes, the woman and her father turned around in the moonlight and gradually walked away. However, their figures contained a hint of loneliness. This was especially true for the woman. Wang Lin closed his eyes and didn't say a sword. This night belonged to him and Li Muwan and no one else. The night was scattered a bit by the sun that was rising. Another color beside the moonlight appeared. At this moment, Wang Lin opened his eyes and looked at Li Muwan inside the coffin. One gaze was like 1,000 years. Wait for me, Wang Lin murmured as he waved his right hand. The coffin disappeared and Wang Lin carefully put it away. He faced the sky with the sun and the moon before letting out a deep breath. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he muttered to himself, "It is time to search for the third soul." The seven-colored Daoist and old ghost Jean should have all found some clues. Outside the celestial realm, it was as Wang Lin expected. Even after experiencing the heavenly Tao, they hadn't given up on looking for the third soul. At this moment, they were in the cloud sea, moving in a formation, and the good above their heads was spraying out large amount of fog. This fog was like a guide, and the four of them slowly followed it. They flew by stars and floating continent as they moved toward all heaven. Old Ghost Jean followed with a gloomy expression. They maintained a certain balance and wouldn't disturb each other. After a long time, the good above the four generals suddenly sprayed out more fog. The fog rumbled and formed a giant figure. This figure was not that of a human but a fierce beast that looked like a dog. It looked like a Chilean but was different and made of fog. Its nose moved as if it was sniffing something. A moment later, the fierce beast suddenly looked up and revealed a ferocious gaze. It jumped out from above the four generals' heads and charged forward. Thunderous rumbles echoed and all four generals became excited as they followed. Old Ghost Jean's eyes lit up. It was difficult to hide his expectation as he followed. The giant beast continued to sniff as it moved forward. Finally, it arrived before an abandoned continent and started to roar at it. The four generals quickly closed in and landed on the continent. Their divine senses shrouded the continent and began carefully searching it. Old Ghost Jean also landed on the continent and his divine sense spread out. But he soon frowned. This continent had been abandoned and was filled with ruins. A long time ago, there was life here, and a large amount of mortals lived here. However, right now, everything had disappeared with time. There was no life on the continent, it was dead silent, and only the auras of a few fierce beasts remained. The four generals' eyes lit up and they looked at each other. When they did this, a destructive force surrounded the continent. In a flash, there was a series of miserable screams and a storm killed all the living things on this continent. After destroying all life here, strands of smoke came out of the continent and entered the mouth of the beast. After absorbing it, the beast shook its head and flew off. This is not it either. Although this not the place, the fact that the celestial sovereign's life fog beast stayed here to sniff means that the third soul must have spent a reincarnation here. The more the fog beast absorbs the third soul's reincarnation aura, the better it can judge the location of the third soul. It has already devoured several times, so it's almost time. The four generals looked at each other and then left this dead continent. They followed the fog beast to the edge of the cloud sea. This place led to all heaven. Old Ghost John followed behind. As he stared at the fog beast, his eyes lit up. It looks like the third soul is in all heaven. I spent the most time in all heaven. If the third soul is really in all heaven, then it is a person or a beast. In the other side of all heaven was the brilliant void. A seven-colored cloud rapidly moved through the star system. The seven-colored Daoist frowned as he looked at a drop of crystal blood in his hand. He had searched all of brilliant void aside from planet 5 elements. He had checked every inch of the star system, every planet, and every grain of dust, but in the end, he found no clue at all. While pondering, the seven-colored Daoist raised his head. He had seen the third soul fly to the brilliant void in the illusion within an illusion inside the rift in the cloud sea. He just didn't know if the third soul had stopped at the brilliant void or gone through. Because at the critical moment, Wang Lin had interrupted his illusion and was forced awake. Thinking about this, the seven-colored Daoist became even more gloomy, and his hatred for Wang Lin became even stronger. Even without the illusion, with all the blood I collected during all the wars between the inner and outer realms, I can still find the third soul. If he isn't in the brilliant void, I'll go search Summoned River. I'll search all for star systems if I have to. I don't believe the third soul can leave the cave world. The seven-colored Daoist had a grim expression as he flew toward the Summoned River. As he moved forward, he was still looking at the blood in his hand. The blood hadn't changed this whole time, but the seven-colored Daoist knew that this blood contained the life of people from the cave world. If it encountered people from the cave world, it would do nothing, but if it encountered the reincarnation of something from outside the cave world, it would shine brightly. However, the range of the drop of blood was not wide, and there was only one drop, so it would waste a large amount of time. However, he had already waited for so long, the time it took now was irrelevant. As he stepped forward, the seven-colored Daoist arrived in the Summoned River and began searching carefully. With this kind of search, the third soul couldn't hide at all. It wouldn't be long before the greatest secret in the cave world would be exposed. Wang Lin was also searching for the third soul. Wang Lin sat on the mountain and his divine sense shrouded the celestial realm. He found Ching Shuer in a wooden pavilion on a mountain in the northwestern part of the celestial realm. Red Butterfly was also there with Ching Shuer. The father and daughter pair lived there in peace. Right now, Ching Shuer was smiling at Red Butterfly, giving pointers to some difficulties she had in her cultivation. She was already very talented and had learned a lot. Cultivation emphasizes on emotions and ideals. Ideals are everything. And Ching Shuer's eyes suddenly lit up and he looked up in the sky. There was a flash of complicated emotion in his gaze, and a moment later, he stood up. Butterfly, practice by yourself. Your father has something to do first. With that, Ching Shuer took a step and turned into a shadow that disappeared from the room. Red Butterfly looked at where her father disappeared and revealed a trace of worry. After pondering for a moment, she let out a sigh, closed her eyes, and she began to calmly cultivate. Ripples echoed on the mountain Wang Lin was on and Ching Shuer walked out. Senior brother Ching Shuer, help me find a soul. Wang Lin stood up and clasped his hands at Ching Shuer. Ching Shuer silently pondered and then arrived next to Wang Lin. His expression was complicated, and after a long time, he softly said, "You know my identity." Wang Lin looked at Ching Shuer and nodded. Back in the seven-colored realm, you didn't ask me if I had found the answer. In fact, I had found it. I knew I was only formed by a soul fragment. Forgive me for not telling you about this. I didn't want to admit it myself. Ching Shuer closed his eyes and sat down before Wang Lin. Ching Shuer muttered, "Do it, I don't know what method you will use, but I'll do my best to help you. I only know the senior brother Ching Shuer is one of the 7 fragments. As for the other 6, I have no clue. But senior brother can rest assured. No matter what, I won't allow the 3 souls to fuse and devour the 7 fragments. When I find the third soul, I'll kill it." Wang Lin's right hand pointed to the spot between his eyebrows and the ghostly sail flew out. It rapidly expanded into a giant ghostly face that floated above the two of them. The ghostly face looked fierce and charged at Wang Lin and Ching Shuer. It opened its mouth and instantly devoured the two of them. The moment the two of them were devoured, their minds rumbled. It was as if thunder had exploded and brought their divine senses back to ancient times, when the seven-colored celestial sovereign's soul split into the 3 souls and 7 fragments. Search for the third soul. It was similar to how he had entered the seven-colored Daoist's illusion, but this time, Ching Shuer was the guide. Wang Lin was using the ghostly sail to enter the illusion to find the truth of the ancient past. Inside this illusion, the sky was blood red and the earth was also red, as if it was soaked in blood. The smell of blood was too thick, and right after Wang Lin appeared, he felt a suffocating feeling from his chest. It was as if a large rock was on his chest, making it difficult to breathe. Looking around, Wang Lin saw pieces of bodies covering the ground. There were bodies everywhere, but very few were complete. There were still eyes filled with fear before death. There was also the vague figure that had been imprinted into the eyes. This was a mortal palace. Normally, this place would be bright, but now it was covered in blood, making it a palace of death. A thunderous bang came from the distance. As large amounts of dust scattered, Wang Lin saw a palace collapse in the distance. There was a man covered in blood holding up a man in a royal robe. His gaze was cold and he was shrouded by a crazed killing intent. Your family destroyed my family before, today I'll repay it. The man squeezed his right hand and the old man in the royal robe exploded. Blood splattered on the man's body and face. At the same time, countless rays of sword energy closed in. It was hundreds of ancient cultivators closing in and arriving above the palace. However, just as they closed in, the man suddenly looked up and his eyes revealed a demonic, red gaze. The red light flew out and turned into a bolt of red lightning. It flew into the sky and pierced through all the cultivators. It only took a moment and the hundreds of cultivators trembled before they collapsed. G-Realm, Wang Lin muttered as he looked around. He looked at the blood-stained man and his eyes revealed enlightenment. This is only the first illusion back in the country of clear water. Wang Lin stepped through the blood on the ground and walked toward the man. The blood dyed the earth red and the scattered blood carried Ching Shuer's hate. It was so dense, it couldn't be washed away at all. If the heavens try to stop me, I'll kill the heavens. If the celestials try to stop me, I'll kill the celestials. Ching Shuer looked up at the sky as the hundreds of cultivators collapsed. His face was filled with killing intent. I want the world to be covered with rivers of blood. I want the world to pay the price and suffer my slaughter calamity. Ching Shuer's voice echoed across the world, revealing the madness in his heart. When Wang Lin closed in, he looked at the back of Ching Shuer covered in blood. His figure was very sad and lonely. Although the revenge was complete, there was no joy, only sadness and sorrow along with hatred and exhaustion from living. Wang Lin softly said, "Senior brother." The moment he spoke, Ching Shuer suddenly turned around. His eyes were bloodshot and filled with killing intent as he looked at Wang Lin. If he was anyone else, the smell of blood and killing intent would have made him tremble in fear and retreat. However, Wang Lin didn't. Ching Shuer's killing intent was monstrous, but he, Wang Lin, was the same. In the end, they were the same kind of people. The reason they could have such a deep friendship and be willing to die for each other was because of this. Ching Lin's eyes filled with killing intent could not shock Wang Lin. Wang Lin also didn't only see killing intent in Ching Shuer's eyes. He saw pain, sorrow, and melancholy. Just like when he got his revenge against the Tang family. This is an illusion, it is true and false, but it is not our destination. Senior brother, sit down, we will enter the second illusion, Wang Lin whispered as he walked toward Ching Shuer. Ching Shuer silently pondered until Wang Lin was next to him, then he slowly closed his eyes. However, 2 lines of tears flowed down and washed away the blood marks on his face. The tears flowed down along his neck and fell on the ground, mixing with the blood. Sit down, okay? Wang Lin stood before Ching Shuer and placed his hands on Ching Shuer's shoulders. After a long time, Ching Shuer nodded and sat down with a bitter expression. He let out a deep breath and opened his eyes. Wang Lin, is this only the first illusion? Yes, this is only the first illusion. Wang Lin also sat down and looked at Ching Shuer's eyes. A very realistic illusion, Ching Shuer murmured and looked around. In the end, his gaze fell on an intact tree in a palace in the distance. This tree seemed to have existed for a long time, struggling to survive. Looking at the tree, the slaughter in his eyes gradually dissipated, and in the end, he let out a sigh. Let's enter the second illusion. Wang Lin's hands formed a seal and his arm opened. He waved his sleeve and the world of the first illusion began to distort. A rumble echoed and strands of black gas came out of the blood on the ground, and the broken arms on the ground began to rotate. In the end, everything in the first illusion gave off black gas and gathered above Wang Lin and Ching Shuer to form a giant ghostly face. The ghostly face gave off a silent roar and devoured the two. The moment it devoured them, Wang Lin and Ching Shuer's hearts rumbled. A giant vortex appeared, pulling their souls and divine senses into the ancient past. The world was in chaos, and this was the core of the cave. This was the center of the cave world and where the door leading out of the cave was located. At this moment, in this core area, the heavenly Tao opened its mouth and devoured Lian Daofei. Thunderous rumbles echoed, and it was at this moment that Wang Lin appeared. This looked exactly the same as the illusion the seven-colored Daoist was in. Lian Daofei's angry roar echoed as the heavenly Tao was split and suffered serious injuries. At the same time, the seven-colored celestial sovereign had a sorrowful expression as his body collapsed. His body was completely torn apart and his origin soul and soul mixed before exploding into the three souls and seven fragments. They scattered in all directions. This was different from when Wang Lin entered the seven-colored Daoist's illusion. This time, he was the owner of the illusion, so what he saw was much more clear. The first thing he saw were the seven fragments. The seven fragments had the colors of the rainbow. The seven different colored fragments scattered to be reincarnated. One of them was bright red. This fragment controlled slaughter and contained the seven-colored celestial sovereign's shocking slaughter. There were countless souls around the red fragment, they were all souls of people the seven-colored celestial sovereign had killed. At this moment, the red fragment devoured them all and shined brightly as it flew into the distance. Wang Lin felt Ching Shuer's aura from this fragment. The moment the red fragment disappeared into reincarnation, Wang Lin saw a figure condense inside. This figure was Ching Shuer. There was also a fragment that was blue, and this fragment contained the seven-colored celestial sovereign's talent. To be able to reach void turbulent meant he must have had the talent of a heaven's favored son. This blue soul quickly flew away, but once again, Wang Lin felt an aura he was extremely familiar with. This aura caused his heart to rumble, and he almost gasped. The moment the blue soul was about to disappear into reincarnation, Wang Lin saw a fuzzy figure inside the fragment. This figure was Sichu Nan. No wonder Sichu Nan's progress is so shocking and his cultivation level is constantly changing. So he is the seven-colored celestial sovereign's talent fragment. The third fragment was orange. This orange light was soft but was filled with a righteous aura. As it flew, all evildoers would tremble under this orange light. This orange light was the seven-colored celestial sovereign's conscience. The soul formed from the third fragment would be someone of integrity. In order to protect someone or something, he would do whatever it took, and no temptation would be able to move him. The moment this fragment was about to disappear into the reincarnation cycle, Wang Lin was shocked to find that the figure was Qing Lin. Qing Lin was the emperor of the Rain Celestial Realm. He had suffered temptation from the sovereign and was almost killed. However, he had done all of that to guard the Rain Celestial Realm. All of this was because he was the third fragment. There was also the fourth fragment. This fourth fragment was yellow and its light was bright enough to light up the star system and almost compete with the three souls. The yellow represented luck. This soul would become someone who would have heaven-defying luck that would make anyone jealous. This person was like someone made by the heavens. Wherever he went, treasures would come to him. Whenever he encountered an enemy, they would likely kill themselves. When the fourth soul fragment of luck was about to disappear into the reincarnation cycle, Wang Lin saw Greed's vague figure. This video will end here.